Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cantina. Hope everybody is doing well. Happy Friday, happy end of the week. Good day, everybody. Thank you for being here with us this marvelous Friday night, this marvelous evening. Happy to be here. Happy to see you guys that are in here waiting for us to get started. So thank you for bearing with me as always. It looks like we have a great little crowd forming, so I'm really happy to see my friends in here this evening. So I want to go through my list and see who's with me. Paul, how's it going, Paul? Good to see you. TVC is the way. I agree, my friend. Thank you for being with us tonight. Better Bob, how you doing, Bob? Good to see you. Britt, as always, I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. Thank you for being here. Super, super cool. Ben Swallow 95, good evening. I like that you're sharing the tags as well. Good stuff, my friend. Jason, how's it going, Jason? Pleasure to have you with us as always. Thank you for being here tonight. Pico B1, how's it going? Hello there, fam. Got the Ghost HasLab on the way. Woohoo, awesome. Good stuff. I know we're going to talk the Ghost. We're really excited about the Ghost. Ghost. Road Killer, how's it going? Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us. Riley Bob, how are you doing, Riley Bob? Good to see you tonight. We have Hal Runner Base. What's going on? Thanks for coming in here and hanging out with us tonight. Fetmatic, how you doing, Fetmatic? Is it Fet Friday today? I think it is Fet Friday today. And Mobile Recluse. Been a while since I've seen you, but thank you for being in here with us tonight. Tim, how are you doing, Tim? Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Hello there indeed. Jacob, how are you doing, Jacob? Good to see you. And Mary, super glad that you were able to make it tonight, Mary. Thank you for being here with us. We love having you here in the Cantina. So very cool, very cool. So it's been quite a week. There's been a lot going on with HasLab's The Ghost and that campaign. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the latest episode of Ahsoka. We're going to talk about all the things that are shipping right now because there's a lot of things shipping right now. It's wild. It's expensive. It is unforgiving. It's unrelentless. But we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. And I'm super excited because it's been a while since I've had him here in the Cantina. But we've got Evan, also known as @MileHighGround from SWTVC on Instagram, who is joining us this evening. Evan, how's it going?
Hey, Victoria. Thanks for having me. It's going well. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad that it's Friday. I'm glad that you're here with us. And yeah, I think we're going to have a good time.
Heck yeah. It's Friday night. Let's talk toys and all that fun stuff.
It is. It's been a week. It has been a week. It's been insane. So I know the Ghost was like a big thing this week, a huge thing, right? Like it was huge. And then, we had quite like a very pivotal episode of Ahsoka. So that was big. But, and this is the part where some of my different fandom / passions collide. This was a really big week. And if you follow me on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called these days, I was talking a little bit about the big thing here in my life lately is, I'm going to talk about Marilyn Monroe's house because that was a huge thing. And any of y'all who've been following me for any length of time know that I'm a huge Marilyn Monroe fan / amateur historian of sorts. And I'm very passionate about Hollywood history. And, her home was built in 1929, very classic Spanish colonial revival style home that she furnished to her own liking with decor and furniture and gardens. And very sadly, it was unveiled this week that they were going to demolish her home, that there was it had been sold to this new group of, I don't even know who it was, to be honest. It's so like dim that we can't even really tell exactly who owns the house. But anyway, they filed for permits because there's records of that, and they granted the permit to demolish the house completely yesterday. But thanks to the efforts of that whole community and people that appreciate history, that love Maryland, that really rose up to the occasion. As of today, there was a Los Angeles City Councilwoman, Tracy Park, who threw a press conference and announced her intention of putting a stay on that demolition permit and giving the house a proper opportunity during that time to be nominated for historic cultural monument status. So that was huge. That's a huge thing today. So it sounds like the demolition is probably not going to be able to happen at all at this point. It's probably going to get its historical status, and that's never going to be a problem in the future. So it's been a great end to the week, but it's been very tumultuous last few days, like I was saying with all the other stuff, but then with this. So it's been wild, but it's over for now. So I'm glad to be here again, and I'm glad that we're able to kind of relax now and hang out and talk toys, talk Star Wars, and kind of hang out with everybody here in the cantina.
Sounds only mildly emotionally draining.
Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week. So I need this. I need to be in here. Cool. So I see a few friends joining in with us here. Jedi Secrets, how are you doing? Stream is lagging, keep stopping. Is it stopping, Evan? Are you have any issues on your end?
So far so good for me, but
Okay.
I'm an unreliable narrator, so.
Yeah, I don't see anything, but I'm sorry about that, Jedi Secrets. If it continues, let us know. If anybody else sees anything, let me know. But unfortunately, we're live, right? And anything can happen, and whatever can happen does happen often. We'll do our best. We'll do our best. Thank you for letting me know about that. Thank you, Mary, confirming no issues there. All right, very good, very good. So, yeah, awesome. All right, so I want to start off with probably the most, in terms of Star Wars collecting news, the big thing this week. Let's pull out the big guns and get that on the table here. So the HasLab Ghost has been funded. Got the Ghost. Loved it. Love it. I love, Evan, how you're on top of all these things. We got the Ghost. We got the freaking Ghost. The Ghost is coming to our collections in a year. How awesome is that?
And the crew. Oh,
Can't forget the crew.
No,
all of the crew.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. I think I had mentioned it on the we hosted a live stream during the final hour of the HasLab. Was that Wednesday night at this point? Who's keeping track? This week has been, it's flown by in one way or another. And I think I'd mentioned, it's awesome to have something that I never ever thought would be an item that I would have in my collection, especially for the vintage collection. I know the past few years have been hard fought to get that line to a place that it can feel like an actual toy line again, that it feels like there's an energy there behind it, not just behind the community that collects it, but the team that makes it. So yeah, getting to add this dream item to my collection, and then probably, having my credit card debt go to collections, but add that to my collection, complete the crew in one go. A lot of notes were hit that we've been asking for. And yeah, man, just woo, I saw that Riley Bob said something about needing a cigarette after that episode of Ahsoka. I haven't smoked in years, but as soon as the HasLab ended, I was like, I didn't, but I thought, oh boy, I should just rip a pack of cigarettes and go to sleep because this is stressful. So it's been a long 47 days. Hard fought, hard talked. I don't know, but
hard everything. Yeah. So, I guess let's go back to the beginning. So, I hate to bring this in, but I'm going to. Sorry, but the Mattel Creations Jurassic Park Gates campaign. I just want to say, that was something I really wanted, but that campaign was doomed to fail because of how it was handled, because of when it was announced, because it didn't coincide with anything. There wasn't any hype. It was just it was just the tier structure. It was just weird. When Hasbro announced the Ghost, that was a masterclass in how a crowdfund should be handled, like right out the gate. It was aligned with being released at SWTVC as being announced, having the actual thing on display, and then it was given this time frame of lining up and coinciding with Ahsoka on Disney Plus. So right off the bat, they were really in tune with what they needed to do. So that was really well handled by them. I was lucky to be in the in the panel where they unveiled that was in fact the next HasLab, which, just in case nobody knew about it, they unveiled that was indeed the HasLab. And the energy in the room was so positive and people were so excited and happy, and it felt great to be just in that energy. But then to see it like right after that, their enthusiasm for this product has been very apparent from the very beginning. And I don't feel that we quite saw that with the Mattel thing, because Mattel didn't have initially like anybody talking about it. They just put it out there. Here's the pictures. Here's the website. Go do it. But Hasbro, like being able to be there and ask some questions the day that they show it, like bring out the big old model, the day that they announce it and see their enthusiasm, I think that goes a long way in terms of hype people, getting them enthusiastic about a product. So, that's the whole origins of this. And then it goes up and it gets funded. What was it like? Within 3 days, it was funded 8,000 backers.
I think it was day 4 that it ended up hitting the backers, but who's keeping track?
Yeah, exactly. And yes, Chaz was in the booth with me. Hey, Chaz, how's it going?
Chaz exists outside of online.
Yeah, he doesn't. I can tell you, he doesn't actually look like that, like a dark side Grogu. I can tell you that. I can confirm that for you.
I won't believe that, even though I think I've met him in person. So,
yeah, it was great to see you at SWTVC, Chaz. It really was. Yeah, but no, and yeah, I do appear in a bunch of people's videos, and it was actually like Geek Dad Life. Like, I have a thing with him, like, that he needs to pay me for all the appearances I made in his videos, because it was always unintentional on accident. But like in every single one of his videos from Comic-Con, I'm in there doing something or talking to somebody or looking at the ghost or all kinds of stuff. So it was just kind of funny. But yeah, so it was funded within the first 4 days, 8,000. Then it had to hit all the tiers. So then that's kind of when it's like, okay, it's funded. Awesome. We're happy about that. But this is where the real stress comes, because we know that this particular HasLab was a little different from previous Star Wars Vintage Collection HasLabs, because a core part of what makes the ghost had to be unlocked through those stretch goals.
Yeah, that and also that they had revealed all the tiers at the beginning as well. Hearing your story and hearing the stories of John Miko and Augustine from the Facebook group also being in the room, anyone that was in the room for that HasLab announcement, I just hear about how positive and how electric that was, all of the good energy for it, how excited it was. Unfortunately, the only HasLab I've ever been in the room for a reveal was the ill-fated Riva lightsaber, where they announced it. They're like, "This is it. There's no tears. Enjoy." And everybody was like, "Okay, cool." And I think 1,000 people backed it, me included, reluctantly.
Yeah.
And then it's lost to the sands of time and the sands of Tatooine. So
to the netherworld of Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't know how I missed you at Celebration. I still can't figure out how that happened.
I remember trying to be on top of it with being in contact with everybody that I knew was there, and then I was also juggling family, and my girlfriend was there with me, and I was like, oh man, that was a whirlwind. It feels like you're there, at the beginning, you're like, oh, okay, there's 4 days of this, and then when you're in it, you're like, okay, so it's over now, and I missed so much, and yet saw so much. But it's been a while since I've been to Comic-Con. I think the last one I went to was 2013. Yeah, man, I miss it. I want to go back.
Yeah. No, I hope you can. It's Comic-Con is wild. I prefer personally Celebrations because they're not as crazy, and it's just the logistics of getting in and going and doing your thing is a little bit easier. And I like that it's all Star Wars. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, SDCC is great to do as well. So the stretch goals. This was unique because we always think of, when we think of the ghost, we think of the crew, right? The ghost came with Hera right off the bat.
Yeah.
But then you had to unlock Ezra, you had to unlock Kanan, you had to unlock Zeb. And that was different because with the last ones, the barge, it was just a repack of Yak Face with a little cup, and the coin. In the Razor Crest, it was just like a slightly different Grogu. I think the head's a little painted different or something. And then the Pram, and then you get the Jawa Elder with his extra parts. But really non-essential pieces if you missed them.
Yeah.
With this, these are newly told figures. They're not like kit bashes like those other ones. These are newly told figures that are pivotal to creating a scene with this vehicle. I think it was a little bold for them to take that approach, but obviously they were confident with it. Obviously it did fund. So any concerns I had or have about it are negated by the fact that it funded. The community stepped up and, they supported the ghost. They got the ghost, and, thankfully we'll have the ghost in a year. And yeah, I think, any of these crowdfunds are always opportunities to see what works, what doesn't, and then try and do things a little bit different and better the next time. So I guess what I want to talk about is what aspects of this particular crowdfund did you agree with, or do you think could have been handled a little differently?
I think something that they handled well was being transparent and communicative. I mean, they had a couple different Q&A sessions. They had one at Comic-Con, and then they had one in the middle of the campaign to kind of further clarify some things. Because I know with these HasLabs, there's always a ton of questions, and especially I'm sure you get this as well, Victoria, just those of us who are pretty front facing in the community end up having to field a lot of questions, see the same comments over and over again. Like, am I going to be charged for it? It's like, no, you're not going to be charged for it until at the end of the campaign. Okay, cool. But when am I going to be charged for it? And it's like, okay, at the end of the campaign. They're like, okay, cool. But I won't be charged for it immediately, right? And it's like, yep, correct. You're good. So I think Hasbro did a really good job of that, them being transparent with like the Sabine and Chopper thing, where I totally understand folks' misgivings of, oh, they should have just been included. Yeah, sure. But at the same time, I do appreciate the reasoning that they had of not wanting to lock even more core things behind higher goals, higher tiers. What if they wanted to unlock the final one, it would have been 20 some thousand, which we ultimately ended up around what 21,000 is what the Ghost ended up at, almost 22, I think.
Yep.
So it didn't just scrape by the seat of its pants. It cleared the final tier and then some, which is good. I wish it had done it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I did fall victim to a little bit of the anxiety in the middle there, but was still pretty confident about the whole thing, especially since it did hold exactly true to all the projections and patterns of first day, last day. That's where all the backers are. And it never went backwards. It still was steady throughout. So I really appreciated that. So yes, knowing that Sabine and Chopper are coming as well, and they've already, even Emily on Wednesday saying, yep, and Sabine will have a swappable head. It's like, oh my God, they're listening, they're paying attention, they're delivering on things that we're asking for. I appreciated them, it being such a high priced item. The goals were attainable. I'm glad that we didn't have to really be too scared about not getting the essentials. And kind of touching on the figures being new sculpts, it kind of feels good in a way to see the community put up or shut up into funding directly the tooling and creation of these figures that are oft requested. I know the entire Ghost crew does well. I think all 3 years of the March Madness bracket that we do over at SWTVC. And then all of those things that get tooled for that, they can, my teammate John, the guy with the mustache, Johnny Mustache, he's put together several exhaustive, in-depth posts about, the Rebels character, the Ghost crew, and all of their different looks through the seasons and how they can be achieved with the tooling that we now have and what they'd require to get all these different versions. So no part of me believes that anyone who has a Ghost won't have figures for it. And I also don't think that people who want Rebels figures will be left waiting and wanting for them. I'm sure versions of these characters will be available to all. It's just nice that we did it, guys. We got the Ghost, we got the crew, we encouraged them and we showed them the viability and the demand. We showed up, we were vocal. It was a lot of fun, even with all the misery at certain parts. It was fun to, I never really see this community as engaged as they were around this HasLab, and that was really nice to see.
Yeah, totally. That is neat because I think back to the very first HasLab, right? The barge, and that was like nobody really knew how to handle that or how to talk about it because it was like a brand new concept, But there was eventually like back the barge, that, but we were all learning together because there had never been a HasLab, there had never been a Star Wars, of that kind of magnitude. So that was a neat thing. And, then with the crest, I think it was a little more viral, it coincided with something that was so popular, like on TV at the time. And then, with this, obviously it does coincide to somewhat to a lesser extent than I guess the Razor Crest did at the time. But it's still something that is at this point, almost 10 years into Star Wars history. And yeah, people are really rallying around it. Most of that was positive, but there was, where I'm going with this. Like there were some folks that took things the wrong way, or they thought people were trying to force them to buy things they didn't want, but I mean, we know based off of what we've seen with previous HasLab Star Wars or not, that, when you try to unlock tiers, the best strategy for doing that is to back it early so that those tiers have an opportunity. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But I think maybe not everybody fully understands, why that's important. So I think, that there were definitely a lot of passionate people, and whatever happened, that's a learning experience for everybody going forward. And whatever happened, we're getting the freaking Ghost. It's coming to our collections with all tiers unlocked next year. So I'm stoked. I was in for one, but I heard a possibility that you may have ordered more than one.
I ordered my 5th on the live stream in the final 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Oops.
I got to ask, why?
Yeah, I've been asking that myself. Got caught up in the moment. Mistakes were made. Choices were made. Words were said. Money was spent. Here we are. So, no, I did. I got 2 because, wanting to have, I'm an opener and a carded collector. So I was like, carded figures, great. Well, I'm automatically in for 2. I'm a sucker and Hasbro's counting on it. So good for them. They got my money on that one. But I ended up just kind of grabbing a couple more because I was going to help out a couple buddies, and I had one person kind of back out. So I've got a couple people that might end up wanting it. And I'm not talking like, oh yeah, I'm going to charge them $1,500 for it now. It's like, nah, just helping out a couple folks. Maybe try to recoup some of my money if need be at some point. And then the 5th one, who knows where it ends up? We'll see how charitable someone's feeling when they ship next year. Wink. So yeah,
it might belong in a museum. Who knows?
Yes. But I do want to mention just kind of one thing you had said, about maybe some tensions being high and whatnot. I know, like with SWTVC, everything we were putting out and saying was purely to drive conversation, to really make sure everybody who was even interested was as informed as possible about what their money was going to be going to, not telling them how to spend their money or that they needed to spend their money, but that if it was something that they were considering spending their money on, if it was something they were interested in, or if the vintage collection is something that they have a very deep support for, here's why these things are things you should know or maybe consider, or what's important. Of course, real life is more important than all of this at all times. But it was always designed, all the conversation was designed to those that were the demographic for it, that were interested in it, that were maybe interested in it or wanted to know more. And it wasn't designed at people who just didn't want it, because that's always fine. That's always allowed. It's like, yeah. And any of the jokes about it, of course, were all in good fun. But I think about it too, like the Marvel Legends HasLab that just launched today. I looked at it, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I have no interest in adding that to my collection because I don't collect Marvel Legends, but boy, am I just stoked seeing that community talk about that. And I'm curious to see how they all rally around it.
Yeah, and it's also great for the toy community at large because, we're getting brand new things, whether you collect them or not, that are not possible to be sold in stores, that are dream projects, that are centerpieces, and that are a part of toy history. If you're into, toys and, the toy lines that came decades ago, and, you have a stake in where things go in the future, then you want all of those lines to succeed and all those campaigns to be successful.
Yeah.
I feel like they handled this one really well. Like I was saying, I think that it was marketed well. The hype behind it was capitalized on very well. My thing is with these is always like the figures, because, I am a carded figure when it comes, no, I'm not. I'm a carded collector when it comes to the figures. And I like to have one to open, one to keep on, hang on the wall. So that's always a struggle with me with HasLabs. But so far, I've only ever bought one of each HasLab.
Yeah.
And what I've done with the last two, with the Razor Crest, with the barge, is I went on and I didn't do it with the barge because we already had Yak Face.
Yeah.
But with the Razor Crest, I went on eBay and I just bought a set of those figures. So I'll probably do the same thing here. Might have to pay a bit for them, but
If only you knew someone with an extra set laying around.
If only. That I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, I was thinking of, for the future, like what other options are there? And I think it was Toying Around, who I had on, Kevin, that I had on the show a few weeks back. He actually asked Hasbro this during a Q&A. He asked them, what if these tiers got unlocked, you also offered a second figure, whether it was carded, whether it was like loose in a little plastic bag or whatever, but you offered like a second version. Maybe when people check out of the HasLab, like, you guarantee them an option that they can get a second set of whatever stretch goals are if they pay for them. And I really liked that idea. I thought that it was quite good. And I mean, that would really solve for people like me, others as well, that like to have, two of each figure. I think that's a pretty cool option, to just have like an extra, you pay an extra $100 if you're down to do that. If you're not, fine, you don't have to. But if you're down to do that, you pay an extra $100 at the end, and then you get whatever extra unlocks those are, so you can have your two versions of those figures. I don't know.
Chris Swansky from Bantha Skull had mentioned, I think during our live stream on that final countdown thing that we did, it was all a blur, but he had, I think it was him, had mentioned, yeah, what if in the base offering or whatever, it's a little more expensive, and it's, for example, the Ghost, say if it was all 4 figures included, and if it was $600 or something, and then the tier unlocks were carded seconds of those figures. And I kind of liked that, because it's one of those where you still get the thing that's essential. Hasbro still gets their money. And, if we don't clear a higher tier, which, while disappointing to not say complete the crew on the cards, you still have the thing that gives the vehicle its life. You have the world building there, so all the figures are guaranteed. But I do understand it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of thing for Hasbro. If you make the tiers too unimportant or unappealing, it can backfire. Look at the Rancor. Or if you make them too important, depending on what it is, obviously in this one it backed, it cleared, we were good, but people worried, like, oh, if we don't unlock Zeb, I'll unback or whatever, because it's evil to have stuff hidden or like trapped in there. And I also get that too. So it's a fine line, and I do not admire Hasbro for having to make that call. I think ultimately they made the right choice with this one, but I do think that it is important for them to realize it's not one size fits all for all of these moving forward. So the next one might not benefit from all new figures that are locked there or all of that stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. But that's what I mean. Like, this is an evolving concept. It's something that can be changed and amended and improved as time goes on. And they can even just try things out, right? Like this was kind of experimental with doing the unlocks as core characters that are released outside of the main line. So, I appreciate the novel approach, and I appreciate them trying something different. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they do next time, if it's going to be something like this, or if it's going to be structured a little bit differently. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool though that, we're not stuck to the same thing every time, right? The process is always a little different.
Yeah.
And the options are always set up a little bit differently. So I think that is a really neat aspect of HasLab, is that, it can be changed. It's not as constrained as if it were something going to stores.
Yeah. I do just have one thing, because kind of going back to when you asked, any things that I didn't agree with or didn't enjoy about the campaign. And I think it is something that speaks to a larger problem in general of LFL and how they deal with their licensors, how they deal with Hasbro, how they are very withholding, or they may not communicate appropriately. And I don't know, some of that could be Hasbro maybe not having the chutzpah to push back and try to, get more out of them. Because they talked about how they exhaustively worked with LFL in the live action reference to make the Ghost a reality, to base it off of those models. And that's incredible. And that's awesome that they worked so closely, and, working with Doug Chiang to do the card backs. Awesome. But then to have this thing be branded as Ahsoka, and then each week as Ahsoka's going, and the campaign ends at the halfway point of the Ahsoka series, and you tune in and it's like, oh, we're spending a lot of time with another ship that we're growing to love, and the Ghost is nowhere to be seen unless, you look in the background and little pop-ups there. And it wasn't until the final week, the day before the campaign ended, that we actually saw the Ghost in any kind of meaningful feature. And that was frustrating to see, because it's like, I don't know, would it have sold more if people had had more time to grow, like, not speaking of the folks who are already familiar with the Ghost, but newer audiences or the more live action oriented folks, like, oh yeah, we've now spent, the show's ended and we've spent all this time with this incredible ship. Let's add it to our collection. So would a longer campaign period have been good for that? Would some coordination between LFL and Hasbro on that? Because it seemed like Hasbro was either unaware or frustrated as well that it wasn't showing up during the campaign. So we all let out a collective sigh of relief this week for sure when we saw it. So
right. I mean, if you think about it, it maybe could have been in, what episode was it where they go to Corellia? It could have been there instead of the Phantom 2.
Yeah, although I will say it was very nice to see the Phantom 2 get such a
Yes.
fun and instantly memorable to me scene, and it's like, cool, I've got that coming to my collection as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it that is a really big thing. Like, the Lucasfilm component of all this is very perplexing, and it's very frustrating, I'm sure, for Hasbro especially, because, you just look at Marvel Legends and they coincide them pretty well with media, right? With shows, with movies, not always, but a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Star Wars, whether it's, TBS or TVC, like, oftentimes those figures don't come out till way later when the media is, like, not on the air anymore.
Because they say, we see it when you see it, which to me is completely unacceptable, where it's like, LFL, that's not how you should be playing the game, man.
Right. And then there's things like you were saying, like the Ghost not showing up until the 4th episode. So it's, I don't know.
It's like the Rancor showing up in Book of Boba Fett a month after the campaign just wet farted out of life, and then the Rancor shows up and everybody's like, oh man, a Rancor would be nice to have in my Black Series collection if only. Oh wait, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like part of that was probably because they kind of let the cat out of the bag a little early.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, we'll never really know the full details behind that.
No.
But it is a frustrating thing, and I wish we could get back to the time where you watch the latest episode of Ahsoka, then you go to Target and you can buy a figure of Ahsoka, or you can buy a figure of Hera, or whatever it is. Yeah. I really wish we could get back to that time, because if we want to keep this hobby going, it's going to also come down to other people getting into it. And if they don't have that accessibility, and I know people order things online, to a huge larger extent than they ever did before. But if we ever want younger people and kids to be more interested and continue buying this stuff, which is necessary for it to go on for years and years and years, then the stuff has to be accessible. And if it's the kind of thing where you can't get the stuff because it's not timed right or it's not on shelves, then it's going to be really hard for that to be attainable. And the line will hopefully may not be viable for, as long as we might ideally like it to without that.
That's one thing that I really appreciated last year, that they at least made an attempt to have Obi-Wan Kenobi figures relatively, like, out at retail, relatively close. It was here stateside. It was, I think, a month after it had ended that people started finding the figures, but it was close, closer than others. Because think about it now, where Book of Boba Fett premiered in December of 2021, and we are just now in the fall of 2023 really getting figures from it. And it's like, it's easy to say, who cares? I mean, I'm being flippant there because I care. I want all these figures, but it is tough with the constant stream of media, like, all the shows just coming out constantly, that we're already a couple shows past Book of Boba Fett and we're just now getting figures for it. Like, why? like, not why make them, because please do, Hasbro, make these figures, cover all Star Wars, but again, the timing is tough. So, and it goes back to LFL not being forthcoming with them about things. So,
right, for sure. So the campaign ended. I have it here at 21,768. You know, I talk about the Ghost every week on Social Hour, and last week I predicted, because I was starting to get a little bit affected by the lack of the slog that was starting to happen. So
it's easy to pick up on everybody else's anxiety.
Yeah. So I said 18,000 last week. Thankfully, I was wrong. It actually, 21,768, which is not too bad, because 17,000 got us all tiers, and then more were ordered. So that's really neat. So it's cool. It's cool. We're getting the Ghost, and I'm stoked for it. And what do you think? I know you kind of mentioned it. What do you think about this having Ahsoka labeling on it rather than Rebels?
I'm a little indifferent about it. I do understand wanting it to, be marketed to the current media, whatever. I do think it would have just been nice to just give it the Rebels packaging, especially since next year is the 10th anniversary of Rebels. But what matters most to me is that the figures are the Rebels versions and they have the Rebels branding. Vehicle packaging kind of comes second to me out of even collecting the vehicles. I'm a figure first collector. So part of me was wondering if they could engineer like a reversible box that if you opened it up and flipped it inside out, you could have the Rebels packaging or whatever. If somebody had floated an option of you could click a box for which version you wanted. So yeah, I don't know. I think they could have gotten more creative with it. But I don't mind that it's Ahsoka branding, and especially flash forward to 4 weeks from now, once Ahsoka's ended. Maybe I'll be like, oh yeah, thankfully it's Ahsoka branded. That's going to look awesome because it was incredible in those 4 episodes of the show. So
yeah. I mean, it's, either way to me makes sense, I guess. Ahsoka being the current media, I understand why they would want to brand it that way, but I do feel that they've made us wait this long for Rebels figures in TVC that, this would have been a great way to kind of celebrate that part of Star Wars. All the figures are coming on Rebels cards. Thrawn is coming on a Rebels card. I think this would have been great on a Rebels labeling, ideally. But either way, it is what it is. We're still getting it. I'm sure we'll get Ahsoka versions of these characters too that we haven't been announced yet. So I'm, it is what it is. Whatever, either way is good with me.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. So I want to go back through the chat and see what I saw a couple of questions regarding the Ghost, a couple of questions. Peak Obi-Wan, we will get to this Peak Obi-Wan shortly, saying he's a little salty because they will charge for the Palace at the end of September, same month as the Ghost. We will talk about that. Riley Bob, a moment to hold on to your butts in remembrance of the JP Gates. Yeah. Oh well.
You mentioned you had talked about the Jurassic Park gates, and I had a lot of unkind words about that campaign, but that's really out of my lane. I don't really, since I'm not a big Jurassic Park collector myself, I do collect the Hammond collection figures and a couple of the dinos. So I'm pretty ignorant on that. I just wanted to admit that. I just know that campaign really did not impress me, to put it lightly. So
yeah, it was just the products themselves were, other than like the human figures, were pretty stellar. Like just seeing it at SDCC, it was totally worth the price. The problem, I think, as I mentioned before, was that there wasn't any hype. They didn't market it well. They didn't time it with anything. They just said, here you go.
Yeah.
And then the tier structure was just very unusual. Putting, a perceived 50% of the value, and it wasn't quite 50%, but the perception was that you were getting 50% of the value as stretch goals and not as part of the actual thing.
Yeah.
And people were doing, what they like to say is, I'll wait till the end and see if everything gets unlocked. And did anything get funded? No, nothing got funded.
Yeah. If you wait for the end, if you wait for everything to unlock, nothing gets unlocked.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's like my dog, she sits around. Oh, I'll wait around for scraps that maybe at the end of the meal. I was like, sorry, girl, I was hungry. You ain't getting nothing.
Yeah.
Eric's saying that can't wait to get the Ghost. Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be a long year, but you know what? I'm okay with it because I don't have any room to put the Ghost anywhere. So
yeah, I don't have any room to put one of them, let alone the rest.
Yeah.
Need to leave out milk and cookies for the mailman that week.
Runner base. I remember Hasbro saying that the Ghost was a contender with the crest back in 2018. Do you think there was some work on it back then that allowed for a better campaign with this time with the prototype? Interesting question. So the Ghost was 2020, I believe. Yeah, they may have had the Ghost like as when they were exploring just possible blue sky options for HasLab. That may have been something they thought about. Was there work on it back then? I don't know. I mean, I know that Hasbro is always working on prototypes and they're always working on designing things, whether they're digital renders or actual physical 3D printed items. They're always working on stuff that we don't know about. So that would be a question for them. I doubt they would answer it, but yeah, they would probably be the best ones to have an answer to that. Jedi Secrets, how's it going? I got a question. Does the Ghost vehicle come with the laser cannons? They didn't say that when they rebuild this vehicle. I don't know. Evan, do you have an answer to that one?
Which laser? The turrets? Or
yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think from what I think it seems pretty complete. I'm not sure if there's something in here that's in Rebels, maybe that's not on this version.
I feel like now I feel like a fake fan. I'm on the defensive now. What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either. Like I don't know specifically what turrets or
I think with the amount of detail that they crammed into this thing, I think it's a safe bet that the cannons that you're talking about, they probably have.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. There needs to be a crowdfunding campaign 101 class. Yes, and Mattel can attend it. And maybe they can take something away from that. Yeah. Smash the like. Thank you, Pico B1. Yes, absolutely, guys. Bounce on that like button if you don't mind. Jason, I couldn't be a face front person. My response to those questions would be learn to read.
Trust me, there were many times. Yeah,
it's hard.
Chatting with the SWTVC guys in our text thread that we text each other all day, every day. To the point that all of our life partners look at us like, "Will you stop?" And we're like, "No, it's toys. It's important." But boy, there was a couple times that we're just like, "Oh God, are we banging our heads on the wall?" So, but yeah,
you definitely need to exercise a lot of restraint because there's a lot of things, and sometimes it's just things that aren't very nice, like talking about your appearance or talking about whatever, it's just, we get a lot of that stuff. So you gotta.
I already know that I'm built like Malachili, so I don't care. But yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. But yeah, we can't all be Chaz the Guru or Blue Harvest Collector getting in the trenches and screaming at people. So
I know, right? We can't. As much as fun as it might be to try for a day, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Hal Runner Base, TVC collectors really ponied up. Yes. And, we'll talk about that in just a little bit and see if maybe we can discuss what implications that could have for TVC, if any. Alex, thank you for joining us. Glad that you are with us this evening. So Chaz, funny how people that were mad that we were telling them how to spend their money were mad at how we were spending our money. Yeah, that is an interesting irony to reflect on.
Yep. I'm sorry I spent money, guys. I feel like the only person I should be apologizing to is myself and maybe my girlfriend and dog, who are going to have to eat less for the next couple months. But, Yeah,
I mean, it's, I don't understand criticism of it. It's like, is it your life? Does it affect you? It's like, live and let live, whatever happened with that.
Yeah. I know there was criticism at the beginning, earlier when SWTVC, we, had caught wind that there would be an expensive HasLab. Hasbro had mentioned there'd be a vintage collection HasLab. So we figured it would be maybe prudent to, even before the campaign, just kind of say, hey, if you think you're even interested in a HasLab, regardless of what it might be, you might want to start saving now just in case, because it would likely end around the beginning of September. Just guessing based on the patterns of Comic-Con and all that fun stuff. So wanting to make sure that folks who may have been interested had just even a little more heads up than the campaign window, because I know 45 days, 47 days isn't really that long all the time. And, we didn't know what it was, but just like, hey, we know how these things work, and they're usually big ticket items. So if you might be interested in a vintage collection HasLab, maybe start thinking ahead a little bit now, just in case. You don't need to spend money. We're not telling you to spend money, and we're not telling you to do anything with it. Just if you want to, just maybe be aware. And if you want to save money, it wouldn't hurt to start now. So
yeah, that's, I mean, people forget that, like, there were a lot of people saying, like, save your money, like, for months before the campaign started. So it's like, it shouldn't be bewildering that a HasLab costs $500. It's
the first one did.
The first one did, exactly. Britt says we must bring balance to the Hasbro Lucasfilm dynamic. Yeah, as we were discussing, absolutely, that needs to be improved. Yeah. I know Hasbro always says that they have great partners at Lucasfilm, and I'm sure they do. But there needs to be a little more cohesion in time in terms of like balancing when stuff is released. Yeah, okay, that's really, really important.
Especially because this stuff does leak out in one way or another. I mean, besides Luke and Mando too, which I do think had leaked out in some capacity. And again, someone else had mentioned, I was thinking it too earlier, isn't this what NDAs were made for? I know people break them, things leak, whatever, but usually if you don't want to be spoiled, it's pretty easy for some of these really niche things to go under your radar if you kind of get off the internet every once in a while, which I have to remind myself of, especially with Ahsoka going on right now. I'm totally spoiler free on it, and that's tough. So
yeah, me too. It is easier now that it's coming out at a time where you can watch it like at a reasonable time with your family, and then not have to worry the whole next day about it being spoiled till you get home from work to watch it.
Yeah. So yeah, LFL was confident about that with posters with spoilers on the day of or the day after.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's just share Lucasfilm. Let your licensors know about stuff. Grogu, yes, awesome secret, but take the risk. Luke Skywalker, we shouldn't be getting that figure 18 months after he debuts and after everybody's foaming at the mouth for it. And by the time we got it, it was just like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Cool. Okay. Anyway, so.
Yeah, definitely. Dystopian Playgrounds. This one put down pretty much exactly how I expected. Speculated over 2 years ago, nearly to a T, and closer than 10% of my early estimate. Not sure how much better it would have realistically been. Alex, if I would like to see Hasbro as a Phantom 1 as an accessory to the Ghost. I don't see it happening. I don't know. What do you think, Evan?
I think, since the Phantom 2 is the small scale, it's in the same scale as the Phantom 1 from the 5 POA line. I just recently got that for the first time, and simple deco, simple sculpt, whatever. But I wouldn't mind if Hasbro kicked the dust off of it and gave it a modern deco to match the Ghost and released it in the vintage collection, maybe threw in another figure of some kind, a carded figure with it. Don't charge a huge amount of money for it because the sculpt has paid for itself after being 10, 11, 12 years old at this point. But I think that would be a nice complimentary thing just to have in the vintage collection pantheon, is to really complete the world of the Ghost. You can't do so without the Phantom 1, and that is a little hard to track down now. I have not looked at the secondary market values since the campaign ended, but I do know I grabbed it right towards the beginning of the campaign, around there, for like 60, 70 bucks. I imagine it's probably a little pricier now, since Hasbro has stated that they did keep it in mind when developing the Ghost, so that it is something that can exist with it. So I wouldn't mind a newer version, but not for $100, but a redecoed version, maybe like 60, 70 bucks, which is totally unrealistic, but
Yeah, I've never opened any of my Rebels vehicles. Like they're still in the boxes, like in my closet. Like, I've just never. You can't display everything. You got to rotate things.
Sorry for being so long-winded, by the way.
Oh no worries. So we're here. We're here to talk. Howrunner base 10 years, Rebels next year. Yeah, that's true. Next year, Rebels is 10 years old. Unbelievable, but yes, next year it is 10 years old. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of a push. You know, not too dissimilar from what we see with Empire or Jedi or Clone Wars, whatever, but maybe there will be a little bit of a push for more Rebels. I think that would be great, and especially if we saw it from other companies too. Yeah, especially like Lego's doing it, and Hot Toys, and all these other companies are doing like a Rebels push. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. Easy retool would be the live action Obi-Wan Kenobi Inquisitor, which I know some folks are insistent that he has to have the larger head. We can get into the whole thing about how TVC skews realistic and the live action version is, Rebels is stylized, whatever. But hey, throw them on a Rebels card with the new longer head sculpt to make some folks happy. And there you go. Easy release.
That would actually be a really easy release. Ken, how's it going? Ken, good to see you. Rebels logo vinyl clings to slap on your HasLab box coming soon. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I bet Padawan Bear could probably whip up some stickers for that.
That's a good point. Pico B1 says he's going to have trouble keeping a mint on card. You got to get that second set.
Yeah. Triples is safe, but.
As far as toys, I believe I've been a part of 15 or so crowdfunds, Kickstarter, dozens. Very nice. So you know how these run. You know how these go. And I see the barge and his avatar there. So
yeah.
Dystopian Playgrounds knows what's up.
Oh, yeah. I also have my barge peeking out behind me right now. So It's still in that box. I've opened it. There's stuff in there, but I just am getting some repairs done at the house. So I put it back in the box for now.
Nice. Alex saying that will be awesome if fans can vote on the packaging. The Marvel Legends team allowed the fans to vote on HasLab Galactus art display packaging. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about that. I wonder if Lucasfilm would be open to that.
Yeah, or if Hasbro would be willing to fight Lucasfilm on that to do what people demanded. But yeah, I don't mean demand like in bullying, but just like, oh yeah, this is what the fans are asking for. Yeah, that would be interesting to be able to vote on that.
I would. Ben Swallow Collector 95 says, I am sad because this campaign aligned with some changes in my personal life, but I'm happy that the community are getting these figures and product, and definitely we TVC collectors will benefit. So yeah, sorry you missed out on it, but I hope everything is well. But yeah, I mean, it's never ideal, but theoretically you could later try and pick one up on eBay. Not ideal, but it is possible to obtain it if you really want to add it at some point.
And to his point there, definitely TVC collectors will benefit. Absolutely, a successful HasLab, and not even just successful, incredibly successful, going several thousand over the final tier, which is well over double of the base offering of what Hasbro thought would be worth their while to make this otherwise, intangible thing. Whether you're a backer, a non-backer, someone who wants the Ghost, someone who only wants the figure, someone who doesn't care about Rebels, or if you're an OT purist, even a success for the line via HasLab, any success for the line is a success for all of it, for all of the collectors, for whatever your focus is. It can only reinforce the positive messaging to Hasbro of, hey, we're here, we spend money on this, it might be worth investing in us. So
yeah, for sure. Howrunner's adding that Hasbro's done a pretty amazing lineup for Return of the Jedi this year. Yeah, there have been some pretty good stuff. There are some things I would still like to see that haven't been done, but yeah, I mean, Black Series, TVC, been fairly well covered at Return of the Jedi. We need Slayer Leia. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, and Ewok Village Leia is my biggest want.
Yeah, and that one is. I mean, you think that TBS came out with one? Was it last year? So I mean, it's
It's been a peg warmer. It's a snooze for
It is. So
them.
I hope that doesn't give them the, reason to not do it. But
Yeah.
so was the Power of the Force 2 one, and I think back. So
Yeah.
Maybe it just got to be one of those like 4-packs or something.
Yeah.
Carded
Be able to
4-packs.
balance it out with another like reuse to kind of cost it out that way.
I mean, they also need to redo Han, right? Like the the most recent one. Yes, this one does need a redo for sure. But also, I was just going to say, even just the Jabba's Palace version, like the one that they released with the wall, the Jabba's Palace walls, that was like a TBS 3/4 monstrosity repaint, right?
Yeah,
so
that's a tough one.
that one needs to be redone too. So I mean, you could put it in there with that one, and maybe use the upper torso of this, but then you give it like new legs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's totally doable. They could figure something out to release that version of Leia, but
yeah,
hopefully someday. And there's still time. The year's not over yet. Maybe there's still announcements we're not aware of.
Yeah.
Well, we have PulseCon on the 22nd. Possibly could see more complimentary things. Pipeline. There was a massive support for the barge and decent for Razor Crest. Is it? I don't know when. It's this month, isn't it, Evan?
Yeah, it's the 22nd. It's a one-day event, so I'm not sure how long everybody's going to have. Each brand is going to have. Sorry, I'm losing my voice after this week. But actually, I just wanted to pull it up because you mentioned the pipeline. The pipeline is pretty backed up right now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. So like 20 some items in the pipeline right now, the oldest of which was pipeline February 1st. And you know what I'm going to say? It was the Obi-Wan Kenobi Vader pack that I've been waiting on pins and needles to just even see since then. It's been torture.
I know we haven't pre-ordered that, have we?
Nope, it has not been shown. So I'm hoping soon. This is an insanely long wait for a pipeline. So
I know that is really weird. Yep. I almost forget about that one too. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah,
never forget. That was my most anticipated thing. And I think when I posted about it that day on February 1st, I was like, Hasbro, this makes me so happy. This is everything I want to see. I can't wait for this. I'm so excited. And they probably saw that and thought, we're going to make you wait, dork. So.
Yep. Well, very good. Very good. So I think that covers the HasLab Ghost pretty well. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about, before we get into all the stuff that is coming soon, I kind of want to talk about the next possible HasLab. What do we think it's going to be? Let me know in the comments, you guys, what you think or you want to see the next HasLab be. And we'll read your comments as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's possibilities. I know what I want it to be, so I guess I can talk about what I think it'll be and what I want it to be. I have a feeling that the next HasLab might be, I think this time they're gonna pivot back to the OT. I think they're gonna pivot back to like classic TVC, more like in line with the sail barge. I think what they're gonna go for is the Death Star. And there's a million ways they can go about that. But what I really would want to see, of course, is the Cantina, because we have this awesome new Jabba's Palace playset. And we have figures that are coming out to coincide with that. But we haven't really gotten a proper Cantina alien since Mosap in 2015. And that's like 8 years since we've had a proper Cantina alien in TVC, not counting like Zutton or Figurin. I guess Figurin Dan kind of counts, but he used the Death Star gunner's legs and it wasn't perfect. Given that we have this amazing Jabba's Palace, this is the time for them to finally do justice to the Cantina. We've gotten little things here and there back during the Power of the Force 2 days. We got those cinema scene 3-packs that had the long bases, and they had little, figures that were in the 3-packs. There was like Obi-Wan and Ponta Baba and Dr. Evazan, and you know, they had like a little base they stood on. And then, you know, a few years later during Saga Line, they did the Cantina bar sections where you would buy a piece of the bar with a figure, Walmart exclusive, and the bars very inaccurately had bar stools attached to them. But they were still fun. They added a little bit of playability. And then they were able to do some Kmart exclusive packs during the original trilogy collection, utilizing those bar sections, but they also were able to get out like things like Kitty Keat Kat, like a repaint of Wooher, a repaint of Dr. Evazan, which looked, you know, kind of muddy, but, you know, unique. And then during the 30th anniversary collection and legacy collections, they released figures that came with like the rounded parts of the bar sections so that you could build out like that whole bar. And it was really cool. Even though it had the stools on it, it was still a really cool display piece. But that's been the extent of it. We haven't had a proper, and I failed to mention the 3D cardboard diorama they did during Power of the Force 2. But we haven't had a proper Mos Eisley Cantina that is fully sculpted, that has alcoves and you know, tables and chairs and booths and the bar and the actual like drink dispensers with the IG-88 heads and all that. You know, we need that. Lego's done it. It looks phenomenal. Other companies have tapped into that by doing versions of the Cantina, like Hallmark, but we haven't seen something from Hasbro that is TVC quality, that is 2023, you know, up to 2023 expectations, and that would finally do justice to what is quite possibly the most famous scene in the entire Star Wars saga, the Cantina scene. So that, more than anything else, is if they were going to do one more HasLab, and even if they weren't, but the next HasLab, I feel I would love for it to be the Cantina, but with the Tonica sisters, of course.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
but in a Mandalorian branded box, of course. Kidding.
No.
Before anybody screams at me, kidding.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's got to be. It's got to be the Cantina for me. What about you? What do you think, Evan? What should the next HasLab? What do you think it will be, and what would you like it to be?
You know, I think either a Death Star or Cantina would make sense. And it's not that I want to. Of course, I would love more HasLabs for TVC. I don't want to wait another 3 years for the next one. But if they think about the timing, though, because remember the Rancor for the Black Series was so that it would ship for Return of the Jedi's 40th. So say that TVC HasLab campaign would be fall of 2025. Say if they did it around the end of 2025, then guess when it ships? During the 50th anniversary of A New Hope, of Star Wars. So I think that would be cool. Of course, I would love one in between. But yeah, I think the Death Star, the Cantina are things that are probably the most likely and the most requested. I think in polls that both Tim Boss Bounty and then the Facebook group have done, the Death Star was actually right after the Ghost. Interestingly enough, I think both the Death Star and the Cantina would be fascinating things to maybe do more modular. I wish Hasbro really jumped in, because they toyed with it with the Tantive for hallways, where it was like cool modular display set things that you can build upon. I feel like you could do something pretty cool and unique with Cantina pieces and different figures that you pack each piece with, and it can be a beat that you buy throughout the year. Same with the kind of Death Star, but like you said, there haven't been a whole lot of creatures lately, so I do hope that if they did the Cantina, I could see it being more like the Ghost, that they would have to include some new tools, some all new tooled figures to bang stuff out, like the Tonica sisters, Kitty Keat Kat, things that have never been made before. Our little shoes, I'm going to totally mispronounce and misname, so I'm not going to even list them all. But I do think too that the nice thing of these HasLabs is, look at the barge, look at the Razor Crest, now look at the Ghost. That Hasbro, with these big ticket items, they know that we've ponied up a lot of money for them, so they do build a lot of the line to support that. I mean, we're getting a friggin' Velkin Taziri to go with the barge and the skiffs. That's what? Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. Love it. So I think if they did the Cantina, it would be, you know, get some of the heavy hitters out and then throughout the main line, and when it's successful, continue building it out. Whereas with the Death Star, I do think they have a lot of Imperial officers. They do have, an amazing Vader. I mean, they're going to be doing the New Hope Vader and Leia next year. They have things to build it out already, so it'd be easier for them to kind of like do stuff in the main line, so the pack-ins or the tiers wouldn't necessarily have to be figures per se. But we still need the mains from that movie still. We've got Leia coming, so here's hoping the rest before Star Wars turns 50 and we all turn 1,000. So
yeah, I mean, that's one of the things too, is, nobody's getting any younger. So if you've been collecting this since the vintage days, a lot of this stuff is late in coming out, like definitive versions, some of those main characters.
Nobody wants to be paying for their toys that they've wanted since they were a kid with their social security checks. So
right, yeah. I mean, and I think that's part of the reason that now is the time to put the spotlight back on the OT, and kind of pivot away from new media, which is great when they do those things, but they need to do something that's been asked for a long time, something that's rooted in the origins of Star Wars history. And for me, that's the Cantina. I'd love to see it with the Tonikas on their own TVC cards. And then, maybe some obscure aliens like Renat or Leo Shoes, like you were saying, would be awesome.
A tier could be Acmina.
There you go. I mean, that could be like the ultimate stretch goal. And I know it'll get funded if that's the case.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I do want to mention too that I see a lot of people saying like Sandcrawler or Imperial Shuttle, and those are all like awesome. That's great. We could use updates to that, I suppose. But the important thing to remember is that those things do exist in some capacity already. And even Chris Reif from the Hasbro brand team has said multiple times now that with HasLab, they want it to be focused on things that have never before been done. Things that, just are either things that are like dream items from past, present, maybe future, whatever. But things that have never been done ever and just getting their time to shine. So I think people hoping for things that have already been done and hoping for like, oh, I just want a new Millennium Falcon. It's like HasLab ain't it for that. I think that's in a different thing. Like that's something that they'd have to do. And also, speaking of the Falcon, remember that the last time that was repacked was 2020. And it was a 10-year-old sculpt at the time, and it was $400. The Ghost was $500. So not bad, man, for an all new tool ship compared to a repack with some new electronics. So
it's true. Yeah. No, and I agree. And I always try and emphasize that, like, they may not be perfect, but we have an Imperial Shuttle, we have a Sandcrawler, we have an AT-AT, could they be better? Of course, anything can be better, but resources for brand new products should not be put towards things we already have. I mean, yeah, maybe it'd be cool to have an all new gunship, but I mean, I kind of love the ones I already have. So I mean, I'd rather them not put resources towards those things and focus more on what we don't have, and things like the Death Star, the Cantina, any vehicles that have not been done that would fit for HasLab would be great candidates. But yeah, no, so totally. Let's hope. I mean, and I think they get that too. I mean, nobody wants to pay. I don't even know what the Imperial Shuttle goes for, like the last one, but let's say it's 300. I don't know. Are you going to, if it's either that or paying 500 for a new one, you can get the old one. It may not be cheap, but it's an option. And then they can put those resources towards something that, we're really, really, really wanting.
Yeah. And that's not to say I don't want a new Imperial Shuttle. I would love one. But like you said, especially with how thin the resources can be to get us stuff and the amount of new media to cover and all of the media sources that they have to cover and trying to find a balance there where, how do they meaningfully cover everything? And they need to make their money go as far as it can. So when the opportunity arises to do something either all new, like if it's all new, do you want it to be something that was already done or something that is completely new to the whole thing? So,
right.
And there's plenty of OT stuff that fits that bill. So,
yep, there definitely is. So let's see what people are saying. What do they want? What do they think? Chaz says the Death Star for $1,000. Negative, Ghost Rider. I don't want to pay $1,000 for a Death Star. I don't think $1,000 Death Star will fund.
No,
that's just, some people will buy it, sure, but you want to have it marketable to as many collectors as possible. And yeah, 1,000, no, unless it's the size of like a house. But even then, it's like, what would you do with it? Would you live in it? I mean, it would be cool to live in the Death Star, but no, I can't do that.
I don't want to have to pay property taxes on my toys.
So. Exactly. I mean, there's already enough of that. We don't want to have to do that. Flipping Kicks, welcome, says Sandcrawler. Again, that would be awesome, but we have a Sandcrawler. As ideal as it may not be, if you don't like it, there's also the Disney version, which some people consider that not canon in the world of action figures. But hey, it's an option, right? Like there are options for that. Britt says that she has always dreamed of a Black Series Bendu, but that's never going to happen. That would be interesting, though. I like your thinking, Britt. You're not pulling any punches there with a Black Series Bendu. That would be quite something.
I would actually buy that. I don't do Black Series anymore, but I would get a Black Series Bendu. I mean, of course, I'd prefer it to be vintage collection. Duh, that's me. But if it was a Black Series Bendu, I would still get it because Bendu's huge. So no matter what, it would still scale properly with my figures. In fact, a Black Series one might scale with my 3 3/4 inch figures better than if they did it in a TVC scale. So.
Yeah, and there's no Bendu that exists, so that would be the one to get. If
I would love Bendu, and however they can do it, Hasbro, get me if you have to sell it to me in pieces, I'll buy a leg. I'll do a build a figure on each part, and I'll do it.
Yeah, and bonus points if they included some way to make him like talk and give you like words of wisdom, like on your way to work or something.
Yes, I am the one in the middle.
Fatmatic, did everybody get their Boba Fett from Target and Ranker Battalion from Walmart? Ranker Battalion,
the ARC Troopers.
Oh,
Blitz, Colt, and
yes. Oh yeah, and they all arrived damaged. Of course, I got those.
Oh yeah, I just got my Blitz from Walmart in their bubble mailer. Not even a bubble mailer, just a little bag.
Mailer. Yeah,
just a little mailer, and miraculously, I saw it. My heart dropped. I opened it up. Holy crap! Both of them were mint. Wow. So I'm not going to question it, but oh my God.
Yeah, that's good. I hope that like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store get those because I'm not going to keep trying with Walmart.
No, Walmart, I'm mad at them for another non-Star Wars exclusive. I collect the DC Superpowers retro figures from McFarlane, and they got Black Manta as an exclusive. Where'd it go? We don't know. So I'm almost gonna cave and eBay that one. I don't know, but if anybody has a line on one, please let me know. So,
did you get the Invisible Jet?
I did. I love that. It's one of my favorite toys of the year, actually. So simple. I love that line a lot. I'm a sucker. I'm one of those guys that collects, the Star Wars retro. I got the Indiana Jones retro, and as a kid, Kenner, DC, and Batman. Those figures were huge in my life as well, like just second to Star Wars. So I love collecting those Superpowers figures, having a blast with them. I just want more of them, of course. So
nice. Hellrunner Base says that a Hammerhead Corvette would be amazing, like someone suggested, but my all-time one is a troop carrier or something that supports army building. The Gauntlet would be amazing.
Yeah, yep. Gauntlet. That's high on my want list as well.
That would be cool. Yeah.
And Ahsoka's T6 as well. So after we've spent so much time with it.
Yeah. I know.
There's a lot of big vehicles.
Why wasn't that the HasLab this time?
Yeah, right. I want the Ghost and I want the T. Can I have both?
Can we have both, please?
Yeah. In a perfect in 2005 world, yes, but
I know, right?
Not 2023, not so much.
Alex, how's it going? Bring on the Tonica sisters. Absolutely. Time for Tonica. We need to get those into the HasLab. I've backed all the HasLabs, and if they're doing a Death Star, I think I have to let go one for space. Yeah, so I mean, I don't even know how they would do it. Would you do like an actual like round like thing that opens up with like the old one kind of, or would you just do it like the Tana V4 play set where it's like things you can connect and like a diorama? Like I have no idea what they would do. But yeah, it wouldn't. I mean, I have no idea. I don't even want to speculate because I don't know how they would tackle a Death Star.
Yeah, we're just buying rooms. Yeah, it's a dollhouse essentially, and I'm curious how they'd handle it. I like you said, I can't even begin to really speculate. I again, like I said, I really would love a lot of modular. I'd love them to explore the modular world, to be able to let us build things out, like offer a bunch of things. So if someone doesn't want to go all in on $1,000 Death Star, but they do want like the conference room for all their Imperial Council, they can get that. Or if they just want a hangar piece or a hallway, get that. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. 1.17.2 note. I always get your name wrong. I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. Got here late. Better late than never. We're glad you're here. Vince Wolo says, I'm pretty sure they'll go either Cantina or Death Star. Mobile Recluse, how's it going? Says, what about the Tanavi? I mean, we kind of have that with the playset thing, but I'm sure you're thinking like the actual ship. I mean, yeah, it'd be awesome, but it wouldn't be my first choice.
People took issue with them having to scale down like the Falcon and the Ghost to accommodate and be manageable. So as much as it would be cool to have like a blockade runner or a troop transport or a Star Destroyer or a light cruiser, I don't know, do we need 28-foot vehicles in our homes? Can we fit them if we wanted them to be even somewhat scaled? I don't know. But weirdly, I could see them doing something like that. I don't even want to put this evil out in the universe about a retro HasLab. I'm not going to do that.
I hope it never comes to that, honestly.
Same. And I collect retro. I like retro for what it is, but I never want them to do a HasLab for it. I never want them to really go outside the lane of figures for it.
Right. And I've heard people saying like do a retro TIE Fighter, X-Wing, or Falcon. It's like they did that for like 15 years in the modern Star Wars toy line by just repainting the existing ones. It's like, why do you want them to bring that back again? Like, no, please don't do that.
Yep.
Keep it to figures, please. Just keep it to figures. No, don't expand outside of that. So let's see. Prequel fans are dying for anniversary stuff. HasLab for one of their vehicles might make sense. I don't know if the numbers are there. What would a prequels HasLab even be, though? I'm trying to think. Like, what would you even do?
The prequels were so well covered because, again, this was when Hasbro, like when LFL was like merchandising. We were going to share everything so we can make all the figures and all the toys. There's no secrets. Let's do it. Qui-Gon's Noble End on the soundtrack. All of that stuff. But like, I think of Phantom Menace, my favorite ship as a kid was the Naboo Royal Starship. I love that. That would be a HasLab now, but then it was just the thing that was feasible at retail. It's not the world we live in. But the prequels being so well covered, it's like, when, what would it be without diving back into something that's already been covered and redoing something? So
right. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. During that golden era of Star Wars collecting, 2006 to 2000, end of TVC, like they did a lot of stuff and they really, covered the Clone Wars and prequels really, really, really well.
Yeah.
I mean, other than like the Coruscant nightclub, that'd be interesting, but I can't really think of anything. They even did a Mustafar place that you can buy a Volcano.
Yes, I have that. That's fun.
Yeah, I do too. And they did the Geonosis Arena. They did the gunship. They did the turbo tank, the ATTE. I mean, all of that stuff would be at HasLab these days.
Here's a thought. Sorry to interrupt. Here's a thought, though. It's not prequel. It's prequel adjacent. They never made the Twilight from the Clone Wars, did they?
They never did.
That could be fun. And we have figures to put in it. So
yep. Yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll see it in upcoming media, and that'll be something people want. Although it always bothered me how it was like so asymmetrical. Like I will say,
that's
it always
what I
bothered
loved
me how
about
it had like a long like wing off to the side. It's like,
oh, I love that. Oh, so you don't like the B wings either?
They're okay.
Yeah. I get you.
It's not one of my favorites, but I do like the cockpit, how it like moves.
Yeah, the swivel cockpit. That's fun.
TVC Mackin says late joining. Hope you both are well. Thank you for joining. We're glad that you're here.
Hey, what's up, bud?
Britt says Werewolf Man with ghost face and cute mouse guy. There you go. Yeah, they did those in already. I mean, they haven't done our Leo shoots, but they did Lax Sivrak in the Power of the Force 2. And they did one for the Clone Wars micro series. I'm trying to think of his name. The Wolfman Jedi.
Oh, Wolfman.
Wolfman, yeah.
Wolfman, yeah.
That dude.
Yeah.
Cute mouse guy, yeah, that's Ronat, I think. And then Ghostface is was done during the Legacy collection. That is what's his name?
You would think I would have committed all of these to memory after all the March Madness tallying every year.
Yeah, no, I used to have them like right here, like instant, like all of them, like instant. But like over the years, like, you know, aging isn't fun.
Yeah. If you want me to remember it, make it a hashtag that I have to say on the podcast. Okay.
I know. Make it a hashtag. Chaz says the HasLab will be TVC 88 with elbow.
Don't threaten me with a good time, bud.
I know. We should put that out there just as a joke. Yeah. Oh, 88 with elbows.
Yeah.
Poor 88. I can't believe he's not going to have elbows.
No, it's like I appreciate Hasbro for their candor on that one, but it's one of their explanations that I hear and I'm like, I either don't buy that or I think that maybe then you made the wrong call in making it when you're making it if you can't afford to do it right. So
yeah, it's like Endor Leia that they did, or Endor Han, or even this latest Endor Bunker Han, or whatever his name. The card just says Han Solo, so I don't have any context on you know, on him. Should have said like Endor Bunker or something. I think
Han Solo stopgap till you get a better one in a couple years, maybe.
Yeah, something, right? I mean, it's not a bad figure from the waist up, but that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the problem right there. Yeah. Anyway, completely new, really retooled to the anniversary Millennium Falcon. So yeah, I mean, I love the last one they did when they did it for Galaxy's Edge, because they updated it a lot. The paint looks amazing. It has LED lights. Like they really like spent time in making it like worthy of buying again if you had the original. So I mean, I'm cool with that. I don't want them to. Do I need a marginally better one? No.
Yeah, I don't think they need to reinvent the way. As cool as it would be, like done all new to modern standard, no doubt that would be an incredible piece. But at the same time, I look at the big Millennium Falcon we have, and I've got both of them behind me. I think this is already just such an incredible item. It's an incredible toy, most importantly, but it's just an incredible item all around.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot though to pitch this for the next HasLab. Obviously, an Ewok village. Just
yeah, I mean that would be cool. I mean, I have like plenty of Ewoks that I could populate that thing with that they've done over the last 25 years, but they don't really release them anymore as a thing. So
no.
If you don't have all those Ewoks, what are you going to do? You're going to go to eBay and buy them all? They would have to like find a way to release Ewoks.
Yeah, I don't. And even though I live in the desert, I don't know if I really want to like buy plastic trees that I can just go find. So
Chaz says for some reason that he's getting buried in a windowed casket. All right. Isn't that how they buried? Is it Stalin or Lenin or one of those guys in Russia? They're like in a glass case and you can just go see them.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it's Lenin that they did that with. Or is it Stalin? I don't remember anymore. It's been a long time since I took world history in high school.
Yeah.
So Ben Swilla has a question. What prequel trilogy item would be cool for HasLab? Because we kind of covered that already.
Yeah.
Queen Amidala with light up dress. How about that for TVC?
Oh, yeah.
All new Darth Vader TIE Fighter Advance. So, you know, we have a version of that and it is based on the, you know, vintage one. Yeah, I'd be okay with that in the main line, not as a HasLab.
Yeah. Especially since, again, Hasbro has said that they have been so pleased with the success of the N1. That has been such an incredibly successful item for them that it feels like maybe that has opened the door to us seeing more vehicles that are new or meaningful updates with a lot of newness to things that we could want and not have to clear the HasLab hurdle, but things that we can just all get.
Yeah, for sure. Flipping Kick says, I think more people are willing to buy a ship over a play set. Hasbro has to capitalize on the one-time purchase of what a HasLab is. So yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that. I mean, everything they've done so far has been a vehicle, right? But they've talked about figure packs as possibilities. So I don't think it has to be a vehicle. It just depends on what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think it all boils down to how it's handled. Like if it's executed well and it's priced well and it has unlocks that people have been asking for ages, then I think it's very feasible. Jedi Secrets adding that they can do the Home One. They can do the Hammerhead Corvette, or they can make a Resolute flagship from Clone Wars. Yeah, I mean, they could do any of those things, but I think anything that's a HasLab needs to align with current media, or it needs to tie into something from the OT that people have been asking for years. And unfortunately, I don't think any of those would quite fit. I mean, they'd be great. I just haven't heard anybody asking for the Home One as a vehicle, for example.
I just think that, again, that ties into what I was saying earlier, things just being a little too big for a figure line.
Yeah.
That I mean, like, yes, you could have a big giant one, but then it's limited to, you open it up and it's only maybe a room and a cockpit that you can put a bunch of figures in, but it's not going to be really scaled to the line. I don't know. That's just where I have a hang up with it.
Yeah. Alex says Echo Base.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. I wouldn't mind an Echo. I hadn't even thought about that. I feel like figures from Empire Strikes Back for me, like, I mean, it's a great movie, don't get me wrong, but like figures from Empire, like, to me are a little bit less exciting than like A New Hope or Return of the Jedi. I don't know why. Something's wrong with me, I guess, but that's just how I feel.
No, it's my favorite movie. And I think there's not a lot that I sit there like just going, oh my God, I need that. At this point, it's been so well covered over the years, and there are acceptable versions of most things, but I do want some 2023 and onward modern updates to some core characters. But other than that, yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, Adam says, hi Adam, modular Jedi Council playset would be cool. And I did see somebody put that on Instagram. I forget who it was. They did like a mock-up of it, but I did think that was kind of cool.
I honestly, so I'm going to completely go back on everything I just said about stuff that's already been done. Give me a Jedi Council playset and all of the Jedi for it, especially with that new book coming out that was just announced. John Jackson Miller doing a Jedi Council book set before episode 1. The Jedi are my favorite. The prequel Jedi, I love that. Jedi Council. Oh my God. Okay. I'm a hypocrite. Give me that. I want that. Thanks.
That would be cool. The last time they did it, you had to buy them like separate. I think they were Target exclusive. You had to buy them separate to get the whole thing. And even then the figures kind of sucked because they were just like really old repacks or repaints. Like Eth Koth, for example. It's like, well, but yeah, so I mean, that would be cool. And if you were able to take the seats out so that you can do like an Anakin like murder scene, like that'd be kind of fun, I guess.
And you could have Anakin and Obi-Wan do their training fight in there or whatever. I know it's not the same, but yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. Totally. Pons Limbic. Yeah, Pons Limbic. Why not? We have Pons Limbic from Legacy Collection, but Pons Limbic is cool. But he's not the ghost face guy, if that's what you're referring to. And 17 decimal T-Note says it's Lennon that's buried in the glass. Okay. Yeah, so Chaz, you can be buried like Lennon. You can have that honor, and you can be surrounded by all your Star Wars figures and vehicles and HasLabs and everything for eternity, just like an Egyptian pharaoh. For eternity. You know, I'm disappointed that nobody said the Canto Bight sail barge.
Honestly, I not going to open that can of worms, but I would just say I would buy that. So
I thought it was kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like it's the first time we've seen a different version of the sail barge adapted for a different purpose. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like going over the water and then it just like flies off to who knows where. Like I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, I would buy it too. I know they're never going to do it, but I would buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need a back to tank stretch goal. Yeah.
Someone mentioned the Havoc Marauder from Bad Batch and the Bad Batch crew.
Oh gosh.
That's another cool thing though about the Ghost and the Ghost crew was, you know, we #completed the crew in one go, which is something we've been asking Hasbro to do, where it's like, look at all of the open crews that we have right now. We still haven't completed the Rogue One team, and it's been many years now since that movie came out. You know, we only have one member of the Bad Batch from their season 1 appearance. The show's about to end in like 7 months with the final season, and Black Series has not only all of season 1 but all of season 2 looks for all of the characters, and the Vintage Collection has one member of the Bad Batch. Just got him, and in his season 1 look, and that is shameful.
Yeah.
But happy beeps. We're here for happy beeps. It's been a good
happy
week.
Beeps.
Yeah.
I looked it up. The ghost alien is Ellis Hellrot. That's his name. I forget. Ellis Hellrot. Hellrot. Because he's a ghost? I don't know.
Man, a lot of those names were, oh boy, those weren't on the nose at all.
Yeah. Or what was the one? What did they call him in the live stream? Because they pipelined Hammerhead for Black Series, right? But he was like, his name was spelled different. It was like
Mama, MOMA. They dropped
like something weird like that. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm a copywriter by day and copy editor by day, so it's one of those where it's like, maybe we shouldn't be the first people that you fire when you're doing cutbacks on stuff. So.
Right, or the X-wing pilot.
Yeah, pilot, and then the errors on the card backs constantly, and it's just like
Skywalker.
Yeah, Jared with an extra capitalized J. It's like, you guys have any? Do you have anyone? There's anyone laying another set of eyes on these just to make sure? Apparently not.
I know. I mean, I understand everybody's human mistakes happen, but at the same time, most like pretty decent Star Wars fans would catch those pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You just need another set of eyes on it. Another set
of eyes on it. The amount of eyes that presumably it goes by, and not one person was like, well, wait a sec. It's like, oh, guys.
You would think. I mean, with Lucasfilm approvals and all that, you would think, but
yeah.
Oh well. Oh well. This is interesting. I don't know if it's true, but Ellis Hellrot looks like a ghost because he can survive in space, and apparently his body's adapted for it.
Was that from that? Was the card game that was in the green, like the green neon looking packaging from like 2000? Oh, somewhere in the early 2000s. I feel like I had a card that had information like that on it. So that's jogging something in here, but obviously it's not clicking in. So thank you for the reminder of that.
Yeah. And then finally, Adam says an executor bridge will be fun. I actually did think about that. Like, a Star Destroyer may not be feasible, but the bridge possibly could happen.
Yeah.
But we have the windows and everything. Like, that would be kind of neat.
They could do a special set of the bounty hunters on special cards, kind of like to the Ghost crew in the mural. The bounty hunters on special cards with meaningful updates to the ones that haven't been brought into the Vintage Collection or need new sculpts. And then those figures can be repacked in the main line, but they get a special presentation with that. I think that'd be fun too.
It would. Star Wars Decipher CCG 1995 to 2000. So yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Right on. Well, great ideas, everybody. Thank you for sharing them with us. We're going to go ahead and move on to basically all the stuff that is shipping, because in addition to the ghosts, which I'm sure, Evan, you got charged for your ghosts. I got charged for my ghost like hours after the campaign ended.
I got charged minutes for after the campaign ended for most of them.
Yeah,
I think they did them in order. So it was like I got one charge like 5 minutes after, 20 minutes after. You can see my heart sink on the live stream we did when I was getting those emails. It was like, payment successful. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a, and this sometimes is a good problem, sometimes it's not. In this case, it's not a good problem to have, because not only did we get charged for the Ghost if you back the Ghost, but the Jabba's or Boba Fett's throne room place that we are just talking about, like, that is not cheap. It's $230. And it was nice of them to postpone it till after the HasLab so that people didn't cancel their HasLab Ghost in light of that charge. But at the same time, that's a lot of charge to have within a couple weeks of each other. So there's that. There is also the latest wave of TVC, which mine have not processed from Entertainment Earth. I'm talking about the Boba Fett Tusken wave, but those are shipping from Amazon. So if you order from Amazon, those are shipping.
They are in stock on Hasbro Pulse right now as well. They switched from pre-order to and funny enough, I literally got the emails saying payment successful for that wave in between my Ghost emails, and was like, great.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there's the Jabba's Goons 4-pack with Velkin, as we were talking about earlier. That is supposed to process at the 15th, around the 15th as well. And depending on how many you ordered, if you ordered more than one, then that's going to be a pretty heavy charge on top of those other things. What else? What else is processing right now that I'm forgetting about? Black Series, Walmart.
These. And the N1. The N1 is also from EE and Big Bad Toy Store. And that's $130 purchase. These are what, 50, 60? I don't know. So, but lots.
Yeah. And Black Series, Walmart is shipping out the Bad Batch Season 2 wave.
Yep.
I just got, because, I don't collect all the Black Series, but I pick and choose. But I did order those Bad Batch Season 2 figures, and I got the 2 Clone Commandos, and I got Wrecker. So yeah, I'm just, it sucks. It really does. Like, I didn't anticipate everything. I mean, I kind of did, but not to this extent. So may need to go in and postpone a few of these things that I know aren't going to sell out. I mean, not the ones that I think will, but the ones that won't. Might be time to go in and kind of explore, like postponing them until next month or something.
That was something that we did at SWTVC as well, was also kind of when we were talking about, hey, there's a HasLab coming if you're interested. It's also be aware that there are a lot of things scheduled to ship around then. There was also, for those who collect Marvel Legends, I think there was a new wave that just is shipping now. Indiana Jones, the 6-inch wave is shipping now. It's just a lot. It's a lot at one time. I'm a little frustrated with the throne room just itself, where that thing was revealed in February of 2022. And it's like, really, it was not possible to clear it out, like to get it out sometime in the last 16 to 18 months. It has to be now. So.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about that one? When I looked at it the other day, it said it was sold out, but now it's like back up for pre-order.
It's been going in and out. We mentioned that as well in our live streams and podcasts, where, again, not to tell anybody what to do with their money, but if they were interested in the Ghost, that was one time only. It will never be offered again. The stuff like the throne room, a lot of these figures are more than likely going to be available at MSRP multiple times going forward from now. So that's not a one shot at these and you're done forever. It's not like the HasLab. So
yeah. And Chaz is saying the Black Series Jabba is going to be processing as well.
It just went up at Shop Disney today, apparently, like in stock and shipping. So yeah, Hasbro Pulse has got to be pretty close behind on that. Oh, and a retro wave. There's the Return of the Jedi retro wave set, I think was supposed to be this month, and I think it got moved to October. I could be mistaken. Yeah.
Adam says the electronic chopper charged already, so that too.
Yep.
Chaz also says a million G.I. Joe classifieds. I don't collect those, thankfully.
Oh, same.
But also the Power Rangers the Lightning collection, like the remasters. I
Yes.
did pre-order those for the original Mighty Morphin
Yeah.
versions,
I
and
thought
those
about
are.
it.
I just got an EE like 10 minutes ago that the Red Ranger process. So I'm like,
Oh
oh
boy.
god.
Yeah.
Um,
I just bought I don't collect Joe's, but a buddy of mine wanted me to order some of the Trouble Bubbles for him. 5 of those. And so I was like, sure. And then I just didn't even think about it. And then I was like, oh no. Because it get charged for it probably in the next few days. I got a it's shipping soon email last week. So ugh.
it's rough. Hellrunner Base says that if anybody's interested, that he's selling a kidney.
Yeah, dude. Same.
I'm gonna have to sell something. I don't know. I got
Yeah.
an arm. No, I probably don't
Yeah.
want to sell an arm.
I've got 10 fingers and 10 toes, and there's no way that I need them all. So if anybody needs an extra digit, let me know.
Right? Something.
Yeah,
Do I need all 28 teeth?
yeah, exactly. I lost them once as a kid. I can lose these ones too. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean it's rough. It's really, really rough. And like right now, like I don't know. I don't know how everybody's situation is different, of course, but like for me, like I kind of really would appreciate them spreading them out a little bit.
Yeah. Especially since it's been a very lean year up until then, especially like
Yep.
TVC wise, where I think only 2 regular retail waves have hit. The Skiff Guard or the Return of the Jedi Skiff Guard repack wave with like Yak Face and whatever, I think is a separate SKU from the main line. So that was more specialty. I saw it like GameStop and stuff, but didn't see it at like Walmart and Target.
You know, I also did order the I'm sure you did too, or maybe you did the Shop Disney Ahsoka sabers. Did one for pre-order.
Did not. I was a good boy. I have the special set, the limited edition set that plays the music when you open it. And since I heard that these sabers, while they are new and thinner, they're still big and chunky, and the Shoto looked a little short to me. I'm sure I'll get them at some point somehow, but that didn't take priority for me, just because I have really good Ahsoka sabers already, so that I like.
Yep. Yep. And you know, as y'all know, I collect a number of hot toys too. And just today I got Book of Boba Fett, and I also got Black Panther. So
Yeah.
that's kind of weird how that worked out, huh? But yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's I guess they just decided they coordinate all these companies. Hey, let's choose September and let's just bombard everybody.
Yeah, so I think when we were talking about it on the live stream, someone was like, they need to have it be after or during tax season after everybody gets their tax refunds. And we're just like, yeah, but some folks, not pointing at anybody, would probably owe money to, to the IRS and the government. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, it's depressing, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, let's talk about something not depressing, but also something that's new and showing up to spend money on. These bounty collection. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Little bounty collection things. I don't collect these, but I just saw them today and thought these are adorable and they make me happy. Look at that cute little Ahsoka reaching for the thing. Look at that. Look at that cute little loft cat. Oh yeah. Anyway, cuteness.
Pass. But thank you. I appreciate your enthusiasm.
I know it sounds like such a cop out, but I bought them because I liked them, but also my girlfriend has a couple of the Grogu ones from the first couple waves, and we've been watching Ahsoka together, and she's been really
Nice.
having a blast with it. We had a lot of fun watching Rebels a couple years back together, and so I was like, you know what, these are cute. I think I'll get these to add to her little collection, because you know we're all enablers here. We all want people to collect things in some capacity.
Yeah, of course. You got to spread the love.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ahsoka. Speaking of.
Yeah.
So yeah, episode 4, we're halfway through the season. What'd you think of the episode?
Oh boy. Wow. Loved it. From frame one of this show, I'm hooked. But this week's episode was easily, I believe the hype. You know, it's incredible. It hit a lot of things I want. You know, I can't wait. I am sitting here just like jonesing for the next episode. I need to know, because even though the prequels are probably my least favorite in terms of Star Wars trilogies. No, I shouldn't say that. Even though the prequels are not highest on my priority list. There we go. I am a child of the prequels, having grown up during the prequel era. So, of course, all of these things really hit me right in the feels, you know, when a certain someone pops in. So, yeah.
You could say it. It says right here, spoilers. So,
yep. Okay.
We're spoiling it. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing here, but yeah.
Getting a hey snips and seeing Anakin and Ahsoka interact for the first time ever in live action, seeing, you know, Hayden back again after just getting him showing up and really meaningfully, at least to me, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's really great to kind of see a prequel renaissance. I know outside of just like, you know, the prequel memes and all of that fun stuff, it's also the genuine stuff of the prequels, like connecting to it and seeing its day in genuine nostalgia, but to tell new stories. And I'm really loving that.
Right on. Yeah. I've really enjoyed the whole series. Not, you know, not 100% everything in the series, but it's been really enjoyable. And, you know, I love that they're doing something that pays off all those years of watching Clone Wars and Rebels. And, you know, I would have loved it anyway, just watching them on their own, but having them connected to something that has like wider reaching ramifications, like in live action Star Wars, is really cool.
Yeah.
And I thought this episode was the best one yet, for sure. It just felt great. It was eye candy to watch. And, you know, it wasn't like dialogue heavy, but there was a lot of communication just based on how good the quality of the acting was. Like just the nonverbal communication, like whether it was like through lightsaber duels or just tension between characters. Like it was really, really, really well done. Like everything about it. Like I loved everything about this episode, and I'm stoked to see where, you know, things go next week, because it's probably going to be pretty wild, I'm imagining. But I
mean, they're showing it in theaters, like the next episode, so there's got to be something in there. And again, I just want to reiterate that I know, like, I checked out all the spoiler subs, leak subs and stuff. Like, I know nothing. I just know that there's only like a couple just short glimpses from the trailers. That's all that's left from the promotional materials that we haven't seen yet. Like, we're going into uncharted territory here, and I cannot wait.
Right. I don't look at any of the spoilers either. I hate for things to be ruined like this. You know, I like to go into this, obviously something important to Star Wars, Ahsoka, you know, it's best to be surprised by it. And I loved, like, this episode was just so good. Those lightsaber duels, like just the choreography, the sound, the sabers looked, and then one thing I thought was really cool about the duels, like being able to see both of the duels taking place at the same time. You know, whether it was from like Ahsoka's vantage point, like looking back at like Shin and Sabine, or Sabine and Shin looked like you could see like Ahsoka and gentleman dude dueling with each other.
Yeah, Balin. Yeah.
You know, that was pretty neat. Just a different perspective. We haven't seen that in live action Star Wars before.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, I don't know, like the characters just seem really, even though we may not know 100% about like Balin or Shin, like we get enough that you're invested in the characters, you know, way they're portraying the characters, the way that they're interacting with other characters, like that, like I was saying, that nonverbal communication. It's just like you're invested in them. You want to see where their story is going to go, even though you know little about them. You know, they're interesting and they're engaging and they have screen presence. So yeah, like hats off to you know, Filoni and those in charge of directing these episodes, because they're top notch. Like this is like, for me, this feels like almost like peak Star Wars.
I think Filoni is directing next week's episode. This episode was it Steph Green or the previous episode? Regardless, these directors are crushing it. I'm put me down for episodes, another season of Tales of the Jedi, but with episodes about Balin and Shin, for sure in there, because I would love to know more. And also, my favorite moment of the episode was not the end of the episode with Anakin showing up. It was with the single stroke of a lightsaber, everybody's stupid Merrick theories went poof.
Yeah, I know.
I don't mean to sound harsh, like stupid theories. Like, it's fun. Theorizing is fun. Don't get me wrong. I just noticed that the theorizing around Merrick really took off and kind of got a little out of hand with people really setting expectations. And to me, it's hard to see that, of people building up expectations that just really are unwarranted maybe, and then disappointing themselves and robbing themselves of a more fun experience with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's fun to theorize and talk about, but like,
yeah,
you shouldn't get too attached to it, because, most of the time it's not the way that you think it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. But again, like, just the action, right? The duels, like, that was just like, you knew she was going to make that move too, because if you've seen Tales of the Jedi, she's done something similar before. And similarly, that Inquisitor wasn't made up of like some kind of green gas, but he still deflated or something, right? I still don't get how that worked.
So what? Tales of the Jedi was just like regular Inquisitor. This Merrick is, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed he's Dathomirian witch energy. That's what the mist was coming out. So like Elsbeth had reanimated a dead Inquisitor or something with some witchcraft. So
yeah, I wonder why the other Inquisitor, like, that happened with his head though. Like, do you remember like when she like slashed him, he fell down and like his mask like deflated or something? Like,
I don't know if I caught that. I'll have to go. Well, oh no, I guess I have to go rewatch Tales of the Jedi, which I love. So
it was excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, seeing Anakin at the end, like, that was like all the feels. Like, that was great.
My girlfriend gasped at that. She was like, oh, "Is it?" And it's like, yeah, because Anakin was really her favorite character watching when, I introduced her to Star Wars and we watched it all together, and she latched on to Anakin's journey. And I've told this story many times, but just of her being inconsolable when he's redeemed in Return of the Jedi. And so it was really great to see him come back, and she's on board. So I love sharing this with her. It's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think when he came on the screen, like, yeah, I gasped too. I was like, I mean, because I expected it at some point, but not in that moment. Like, it was just kind of, when you heard his voice, yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, it's Anakin, right? But then when you see him, it's like, it's Anakin. Like, like, it gets real.
Yeah, I was expecting like Qui-Gon at the end of Obi-Wan, where it's just like a really sweet, fun little payoff scene at the end. But it's like, oh, cool, we're halfway through the story and we're jumping into the world between worlds. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you, Dave. Let's do this.
Yeah. And it does make me wonder, because, at first I was thinking, oh, she's in the ghost realm, and that's why he looks not like a ghost, because, she's in that realm with him. But if it is world between worlds, which it seems like it is, then only Ezra has gone in there, and Ahsoka's been in there because he pulled her out. So how did Anakin get in there? Like, did he find a way? Is this like an alternate timeline? Like, is he trying to save Padme still? Like, at what point is this Anakin? Like, is it before he turns to the dark side? Is it after? Is he going to order 66 on her? Like, I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to see them duel though in this next episode.
Yeah.
But
I'm inclined to believe that it's this is after Anakin has died. This is him manifesting as a Force spirit, because I feel like World Between Worlds is already such a nebulous thing, but it's basically a nexus of Force stuff and time. And I think that, Force ghosts, we've seen that their power, they're not limited by time and space. So I feel like that they can manifest in the world between worlds and maybe be spirit guides of some kind. Um, I could totally see that. And, you know, his Anakin's final lesson to teach Ahsoka maybe in there. I don't know.
I hope it's as simple as that. I hope
Yeah.
it's not anything like, I know some people were saying, oh, it's going to be like, you know, the brother from
someone just said that in the comments. Yeah, the son from Mortis.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Somebody says was saying it was going to be the son, like in disguise as Anakin, trying to trick her. I mean, yeah, maybe, but are they going to really do that? And when much of the audience probably doesn't know about that arc, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, one thing for me though, like when Obi-Wan turned into a Force ghost, he dropped his lightsaber, and the lightsaber and the cloak just like stayed there. But then Obi-Wan had his cloak in Empire. So it's like, how did he get the cloak back as a ghost? Yeah. In this case, like Anakin has the saber, which I hate that people were saying it was Vader's saber. It's not, it's Anakin's. You look carefully, it's Anakin.
Just the lighting is different. Yeah.
But it's like, why would he have the saber, but Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan wouldn't? So it does have me wondering, like, you know, and then the music being kind of ominous at the end with you know, the Vader music. I don't know. We'll find out in a few days. I don't want to overthink it, but it's fun to speculate on either way.
It's actually the real Merrick, who's actually Starkiller.
It's Unkar Plutt.
Yeah. That's mine.
Oh boy. Did you know he was supposed to be in Last Jedi?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm glad he wasn't, but
yeah.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Anyway.
He was in the book Shadow of the Sith. That was the canon book that came out last year about Luke and Lando teaming up to fight some Sith acolytes of sort. So that fun book, by the way. Sorry, that's the second book I've mentioned tonight. I like Star Wars books. They're fun.
Right on. Yeah, no, that's cool. I haven't read that, but that's good to know. Yeah, no, I'm excited for this next episode. I think, you know, we can guess all day, but I think whatever is planned is probably going to be different and hopefully probably better than what we're envisioning. And it's going to make sense when we see it. But I'm really excited. I'm glad that, you know, Ahsoka, she's still growing. You know, she can't just be like perfect this whole season. So I'm glad that, you know, it seems like she's going to get some character development and growth to continue on her path of becoming, you know, whatever ideal version of herself she's going to be.
Yeah. And I'm curious what awaits in the new galaxy beyond just Thrawn. What's going on there? What is it? What's Ezra up to? What are we doing?
Yeah, what's going on over there? Are they like together hanging out, or are they like enemies, or I don't know. I've seen a lot of fan art where they're like hanging out together, and like Thrawn has like the long hair, and he's like, they're like barbecuing together and stuff.
Honestly, that would be hilarious if it's all this build up to go to the other galaxy and they just pop in and it's just Thrawn and Ezra just hanging out on on his crash Star Destroyer, and they're just like, oh, hey, what's up? All right, let's go back. And then they come back and it's just
yeah, like, no, we're good. We're gonna stay here. We like it here.
Yeah.
Sorry you came all this way.
Yeah. And Sabine will be like, oh, that's cool. I guess, can I stay too? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. So
would be interesting. I wonder if we'll get more space whales, because you know, we saw the Purrgil in, was it episode, it was the last one, right? 3.
3, yeah.
And I thought they were gonna play like a role in the hyperspace ring. Like I thought they were going to be part of that, but they weren't. So I wonder if we're going to get to see them after this.
Here's a theory, if I may. I know
you may.
I think so. Like they put a lot of emphasis on Hu Yang saying, you know, stay together, and then their whole plan, and they lose when they split up. And now Ahsoka's in the world between worlds, and we've established that there's some timey-wimey stuff that can happen in Star Wars now through that. So I'm almost wondering if like the next episode is going to be like a kind of odyssey of Ahsoka learning, like I mentioned, like another lesson. And then we go back and then they pop up. And then this time Sabine and Ahsoka don't split up, and they're able to, you know, not lose as badly, but maybe, you know, Elsbeth and whatever, they still go to the other galaxy. And then the Purgle are going to be what take the Ghost and company to the other galaxy to go find it, because the Purgle know where they're going, so they don't need a map.
No, they'll just ride on the Purgle.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Harness them up. Throw the spacesuit on.
Yeah, she's got the spacesuit. She just puts it on.
Yeah.
And then she can ride the space whale through hyperspace.
Which I need that figure ASAP, guys. Let's do this, Hasbro. Give me spacesuit Ahsoka like yesterday, please.
But is her suit soft goods, or is it like her top part, or is it?
No, I'll sculpt it. You gotta sculpt it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
With interchangeable heads, I might add, not
Yes.
with
the slide on giant helmet.
Yeah.
Swappable. Oh yeah, swappable heads for sure.
Yeah. But you know why that's a deluxe pack, right? Because the helmet was so big, they had to charge for the helmet.
Yeah. Yes, I hear that the Ghost can fit inside the helmet. So
that's where the World Between Worlds is, inside Sabine's helmet.
Oh man, it's fun to roast them for it, but I am, you know, real talk, really glad though that Hasbro has really taken the feedback on that and have been quick to say, you know, both, hey, you know, the next Sabine will not have that, and while swappable is good, maybe it wasn't the right call here. And I think even maybe in a comment somewhere, the guy who sculpted that figure said that, oh yeah, well, we weren't super stoked on that, so we're doing swappable for the next one. It's like, cool. I'm glad that you guys are aware. It's not just like them trying to be like, what are you guys talking about? It looks fine. Everybody's helmet is the size of their torso. Come on. So
right. Actually, I had a dream about that figure that I got it, and it was like the helmet was just like, oh, yeah. That's how much that's kind of stuff is on my mind, is that it penetrates my dreams.
Totally get it.
Well, cool, Evan. Hey, we've been going for 2 hours, so long time. It's 9 o'clock, 9:10 here. What time is it where you're at?
10:10.
10:10 Mountain time.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I guess I'll do a last call if anybody has any last questions they want to ask us really quick. But yeah, tell us in the meantime about what's going on over at on your Instagram page as well as with SWTVC.
Yeah, on mine, I'm just currently cranking out low effort memes about HasLab, but now that that's over, what am I gonna do with myself? I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe I can try taking some photos of figures again. I don't know. But at SWTVC, actually tomorrow morning, we are going to be recording our HasLab Ghost campaign postmortem episode of the SWTVC podcast, which will be dropping next week. I'm thinking Wednesday is what it seems like. Labor of love, you know how it goes. We'll be talking about stuff that's just been said as ad nauseum for the past 47 days, and you know, here, but really just kind of our final stamp on it of get the Ghost, got the Ghost. Here's the thoughts, recap it, and then hopefully never have to type get the Ghost, got the Ghost again until it shows up, and we can just be happy, rejoice, move on, look to the future, and keep collecting.
Nice. Love it. So good stuff. And we have links to your Instagram and SWTVC Instagram and the YouTube down in the description. So if anyone, for whatever reason, just isn't aware, definitely check out Evan and SWTVC. They do fantastic work. Thank you for doing what you guys do, as always.
Always.
Yeah, and thank you for being on here. It was great having you. It's been a long time, so I'm really glad that we were able to do this tonight.
Same. Thank you for having me. And also, I look forward to the final season of the Vintage Collection podcast. So when are you embarking on that journey?
Episode 21 is released on Monday.
Ooh, I'm glad I asked. I'll have something to listen to before I then have to edit my own podcast episode.
Nice. Yes. Yes. So the next episode of the TVC podcast will be on Monday. We'll be back on Social Hour next week. And then we also have the fundraiser special coming up next Saturday. Nice. If anybody wants to tune in for that, it'll just be a fundraiser for thyroid cancer research, and any funds that we make from that video will be donated in the ongoing pursuit of research in the treatment of thyroid cancer. So hope that you guys, if you're interested, will come in and hang out with us. It'll be fun. We'll have some guests on and we'll just do our thing. That'll be next Saturday. And yeah, want to say thanks to everybody who's been hanging out with us here this evening. We've had a nice group hanging out with us and asking questions and leaving their comments. So thank you very much, everybody. I did ask for one last round of questions. I will honor that real quick and just take a quick look here. Adam says, thank you for going so long. It was late. Still got to hear so much. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate you being here. And if anybody missed any portion of the show, it will be published following the stream. So you can go back and re-watch or listen if you want to torture yourself even more. And thank you, Paul. We appreciate you being here. Dystopian Playgrounds for non-HasLab. What are each of your top picks for another all-new vehicle after the N1 success?
That's a tough one on the spot. I mean, Gauntlet, but again, that'd probably have to be big to be a troop transport. Ooh, get back to me on that, bud.
Yeah, I don't know either. I know I've been seeing like Chris from Bantha School said, it's a good time for a new Jedi Starfighter. I think that would be cool, but I don't know that would be my first choice.
Shin's Starfighter from
that would be cool.
There we go.
That would be cool. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. JJ, good to see you. What's your thoughts on the new Jabba Dozen sword pack? Fig, least favorite thing about it. I mean, obviously, I'm elated for this. I'm sure Evan is as well, largely because it's got Velkin freaking Taziri in it.
I will never have to say vote for Velkin again, and I will never have to tally up votes for Velkin or Tame or Pesach in March Madness ever again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm stoked. And yeah, Velkin is definitely the standout and the highlight of that set because, people have been asking for Velkin for ages. He's really like the last figure, I believe, that you need to finish at least one of the skiffs. So you can round out that skiff. So that's cool that he's coming. It's cool that they listened. No doubt the petition helped. No doubt just the desire to get that last scene fleshed out helped. So,
and would we have gotten them if we never got the sail barge? HasLabs have effects.
Yep, HasLabs have effects, so we will definitely get more stuff. Even with the Razor Crest, remember they said, we're going to give you guys every figure that. I mean, they didn't really happen quite, but they gave us quite a bit. They did quite a bit.
They have done a respectable amount. And again, just to plug my teammate John, he's put together a retrospective on this stuff before this HasLab launched, covering previous HasLabs and how Hasbro built out the worlds with them. So they're doing a good job with as thin as resources can be. They are doing a really honest go of trying to get these things supported in the line. So,
yeah. And I'm sure it'll be the same with the Ghost. We'll get more things to tie in with it for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Hellrunner and Base for hanging out with us. Mary, nice to see Evan here. Appreciate all the work you do at SWTVC. March Madness is going to be great next year. Thank you, Mary. We appreciate you being here with us as always. Delvian Seek, how's it going? Glad to have caught part of the stream. It's very early in the UK. We're glad that you made it. And, I'll just throw out once again that you can rewatch anything you may have missed. Kevin, we were talking about you earlier. Glad that you're here with us at the last few moments. But we're glad that you here. It's good to see you. July through November. Evan, can you post an update on March Madness that's been made?
Thank you for asking. If you visit us on Instagram at SWTVC, I'm so shameless. We have a calendar up for September. And actually this month, we are going to be doing a halfway point since it's halfway between March Madnesses, where we will do an update looking at what's been made from previous years. We've talked about it briefly, but we will have some posts and we'll have a podcast episode about it. Currently, though, just where we're at is just from 2023 March Madnesses bracket of the 64 figures. With the Ghost being successful and all the tiers unlocked, 19 spots have now opened up for next year's March Madness. So it will be a very different looking bracket.
Nice. Well, that'll be something to look forward to. Flipping Kicks, you both are very well spoken. Thank you. Pleasure to listen on a Friday night. Yeah. Best time to end the week. Best way to end the week with a not TVC podcast with Cantina Social Hour. A blurg, Pelimoto, Frog Lady, and at least regular MIGs would be good. Didn't they pipeline MIGs at some point, like the regular version?
No, it's for Black Series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which I think he's on shelves now. I think he's in the most recent wave that's hitting.
I'm a little mandoed out, to be honest, when it comes to TVC or any figures, really. There are some that I'd love to have. I'd love to have season 3 Moff Gideon, the Mando Stormtrooper, the Praetorian Guards. I'd love to have those.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm a little mandoed out on when it comes to TVC figures. So I know
it's
they're
been
coming
very
out with
well
more.
covered.
I know they're coming out with more too that they pipeline at SDCC, and I'm not enthused, but I'm gonna buy them, obviously.
It wasn't a strong pipeline for it because it was a lot of reuse heavy for
right.
those. So,
things that they've done.
Yeah, it wasn't as exciting, but I get you.
Ben Solo, thank you for being here with us as well. July through November. Again, thank you. Better Rate Bob, great discussion. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Thank you. Same to you. And then Planet Mars, glad you're able to make it. So Leia celebration through the Cornish with 5 Ewoks would be great.
Yes.
That would be a cool pack for sure.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that covers it. So again, Evan, thank you so much for coming on. It's been fun.
Thank you, Victoria.
We've covered a lot of ground this evening with the HasLab, with talking about what we would want to see for HasLab, talking about all the pre-orders that are kicking in this month, talking about Ahsoka episode 4, and yeah, it's been great. So thank you, Jason. We appreciate you as always. Everybody, have a great night. No matter where you're tuning in from out in the galaxy, thank you for listening to Cantina Social Hour. Hit us up next week. We'll be back next Friday, same time, same channel, all that stuff. Be well, be safe, do the right thing. May the Force be with you. We'll see you very soon, and take care. Thank you. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you.